Dan Morgan, a great car salesman living peacefully in Buffalo, New York with his wife Jessica and their 3 kids, Nina, Kyle, and Max. It's on their anniversary. Dan and Jessica decide to celebrate at the carnival where they had their first date. Things take an unexpected turn when a guy purposefully snaps a selfie with them kissing and won't delete it, deciding to share it on social media. Instead of escalating the situation, Dan chooses to walk away even when the guy pours a drink over his head. One day while shopping with his son Max, Dan is suddenly attacked in a store. Surprisingly, he easily beats up the person who attacked him. But here's the twist. Dan used to be a secret agent. Confused about why he was attacked, Dan contacts his old friend Augie, who thinks their past boss McCaffrey might be behind it. Augie suggests Dan should disappear for safety. Realizing he was found through a photo online, Dan gets new ID documents for him and his family. He picks up his kids from school and surprises Jessica at work saying they're going on a trip to Las Vegas. As they're about to leave town, Dan senses they're being followed. Suspecting a tracking device on their family minivan, he decides to take action. He pulls into his car dealership and heads to one of the service bays. He skillfully locates and removes the tracking device from the undercarriage of the minivan. McCaffrey and his team search the Morgans' home, but they find no clue. Dan got rid of everyone's phones to stay hidden. They drive all night and end up in Iowa City. Nina wants to check out Southern Iowa University because of her boyfriend Trevor. But when she discovers Trevor is cheating, Dan teaches her some self-defense moves, and she uses them on Trevor. As they go to Vegas, Dan becomes closer to his family. In Vegas, he plans to tell Jessica the truth about his past during a nice dinner. They leave the kids in the hotel room, but the kids, especially Kyle, who's good at gaming, take Max to a gaming place. When Dan and Jessica come back, some bad people attack them, but Dan handles it well. Dan, whose real name is Sean, tells the family about his past, making them upset. Even though Dan gives them new IDs, he says they can't go back to Buffalo. Jessica decides to leave with the kids, saying they're after Dan, not them. Jessica calls her friend Gwen, who comes with a private jet to take them back home to Buffalo. Gwen, who used to be with Dan and now works for McCaffrey, gets upset because Dan left her. She hands Jessica and the kids over to Dan, and he keeps them against their will. McCaffrey, who is actually Dan's dad, threatens to harm the family unless Dan becomes an assassin. Dan agrees, and Jessica and the kids are taken back to the airport for Buffalo. Jessica and the kids escape when Jessica fights and defeats the person watching them, and then they go back to rescue Dan. McCaffrey calls his team to capture Dan in the old hotel. Dan, with Kyle's help and a drone, fights them off. Jessica battles Gwen and uses a piece of bamboo to stop her. They go downstairs where Nina distracts McCaffrey, giving Dan the chance to knock him out. The police take McCaffrey into custody. The Morgans are back in Buffalo. Dan now runs his security firm, using his expertise to help clients defend against attacks. Jessica is coaching high school track and field, and they decide to go on a cross-country road trip in a rented RV to take their daughter to Stanford. Don't miss out on more videos like this by subscribing and turning on notifications. Thanks for watching.